This was the man who prayed with me every night. His hands always smelled like peppermint soap. I remember because he'd rest one on my shoulder while we prayed, and I could smell it mixed with something else. Wood polish, maybe? Or the leather of his Bible. It was comforting, solid, like how I imagined a father's hand should smell. Pastor Mike started coming over for Wednesday dinners 6 months ago. Mom invited him after I told her about the panic attacks, about how my chest would get tight at night and I couldn't breathe right. She thought having a spiritual presence in the house might help. She was right. It did help. He wasn't like the youth pastors who tried too hard to be cool. Mike was in his 40s, soft-spoken, with reading glasses he was always losing. He told terrible dad jokes that made my mom groan and my stepdad actually laugh. He asked about my day like he actually wanted to know. Not the surface stuff, but the real things, the scary things. Like how I felt invisible at school. How the girls who used to be my friends started sitting at a different lunch table without telling me why. How I'd started wondering if there was something fundamentally wrong with me, something everyone else could see, but I couldn't. "You know what I see when I look at you?" he said one Wednesday after dinner when we were clearing plates. Someone brave enough to ask hard questions. That's rare, especially at 15. I felt something warm spread through my chest, like being recognized, like mattering. After that, he started staying later, an extra hour, then 2. My mom and stepdad would retreat to their bedroom. They both worked early shifts, and Mike would sit with me in the living room. We'd talk about everything. God, yes, but also books and college, and whether I thought I was more of an introvert or just hadn't found my people yet. "You remind me of my daughter," he said once, and his eyes got distant. "She was about your age when things got complicated." He never finished that thought. I didn't push. The first panic attack he witnessed happened on a Wednesday night, 3 months in. My chest seized up right there at the dinner table. I couldn't get air, couldn't speak. The room started tilting. Mike was beside me in seconds. Hey, you're okay. Look at me." His voice cut through the static in my head. "Breathe with me. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. He counted, I followed. My mom hovered helpless, but Mike just kept his hand on my back, steady and warm, until the world stopped spinning. After my parents went to bed, he asked if he could pray with me. He said, "Sometimes what we need isn't to understand our fear. We need to surrender it to someone bigger." We knelt beside the couch. His voice was low and gentle, thanking God for me specifically, for my tender heart, for my questions, for the way I loved people even when they didn't love me back. No one had ever thanked God for me before. When I crawled into bed that night, I slept better than I had in months. So when the panic attacks got worse, every night, like clockwork, right when I was supposed to be falling asleep, I texted him, "Is it okay if we pray again?" He came the next evening and the evening after that. It became our ritual. He'd sit on the edge of my bed, right where the mattress dips, and we'd pray together, sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes longer, until my breathing evened out and the terror loosened its grip. "You're going to be okay," he'd say every time, standing to leave. "You're stronger than you know." Sometimes while we prayed, his phone would light up face down on my nightstand. He never reached for it, not even glanced at it, just kept his eyes closed, his hand on my shoulder, his voice steady. I thought that meant the prayers mattered more than anything. I thought that meant I was safe. My mom noticed how much calmer I'd become. "Pastor Mike has been such a blessing," she said one morning, pouring coffee. "I don't know what we would have done without him." "He really cares," I said, and I meant it. I felt it. "He does," she agreed. Then quieter. "Just, sweetie, I know he's been staying late. If you ever feel uncomfortable, or if he ever—" "Mom," I cut her off, embarrassed. "It's not like that. He's basically like a dad." She didn't push it. I wish she had. There was only one moment that felt strange, just one. We were praying. It must have been week 3 of the nightly routine, and I had my eyes closed. I always kept them closed, but I felt him shift on the bed, felt his weight settle differently, closer. The hand on my shoulder moved just slightly, his thumb brushing the bare skin where my t-shirt collar gaped. My eyes opened. He was looking at me, not in prayer, just looking. When he noticed I'd opened my eyes, he smiled, gentle, reassuring. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Where were we? We finished the prayer. He left. I told myself I imagined it. People you trust don't hurt you. That's what makes them trustworthy, right? Last Wednesday, he didn't come for dinner. My mom and stepdad were in the kitchen when I got home from school, and the air felt wrong, thick, like before a storm. Sit down, sweetheart, Mom said. I sat. It's about Pastor Mike. My stomach dropped. Is he okay? Did something happen? There have been allegations, my stepdad said, and his voice was careful, controlled, from other families, about inappropriate conduct with minors. The words bounced off me at first. Inappropriate. Minors. They didn't stick. What does that mean? Mom's eyes were red. It means we need to ask you some questions about the time he's been spending with you, about the prayers. The prayers helped me, I said, and I could hear my voice getting defensive. You saw how much better I got. You're the ones who said he was a blessing. I know, baby. I know. Mom reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Did he ever touch you? Anywhere that made you uncomfortable? He put his hand on my shoulder. That's it. We were praying. That's what people do when they pray. They exchanged a look. One of those parent looks that means they're saying something I'm not supposed to hear. What? I demanded. What are you not telling me? My stepdad's jaw tightened. There are pictures on his phone of other girls. The room tilted. What kind of pictures? Sleeping, Mom whispered. He took pictures of them sleeping. I thought about his phone lighting up face down on my nightstand. I thought about how he never reached for it. I thought about how many nights he'd been in my room while I had my eyes closed, while I was vulnerable and trusting and praying. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back, Mom was crying. Did we let this happen? Were we so desperate for help that we just... He helped me, I said, but my voice cracked. I needed help, and you were always working, and he was the only one who... I stopped, because I heard it, how it sounded. My stepdad knelt before me. That's what they do, sweetheart. They find the gaps, the places where kids need something, and they fill those gaps so perfectly that you can't imagine life without them. But I can't, I whispered. I can't imagine. The prayers were real. I felt God. You felt seen, Mom said softly. And you deserve to feel that way, but not from him. Never from him. I thought about his thumb on my collarbone, the way he looked at me when my eyes opened, how I convinced myself I imagined it. I asked him to come, I said, and now I'm crying. All those nights, I texted him to come pray with me. That's not your fault. But I wanted him there. I felt special. He made me feel... My voice broke. How am I supposed to trust what I feel anymore? Neither of them had an answer. Outside, a car passed. For one terrible second, I thought it was his silver Camry, and my entire body went cold. Then it kept driving. Just the neighbor. But I'm still shaking. Mom pulls me into her arms. My stepdad wraps around both of us. We stand there in the kitchen, holding each other like we're trying to keep the world from splitting apart. We're here now, Mom whispers. We're not going anywhere. I want to believe her, but I keep thinking about his hands, the peppermint smell, the weight of him on the edge of my bed. I keep thinking about how I closed my eyes every single night and trusted him completely. And I wonder how many pictures he took. The detective's name is Sarah Winters. She has kind eyes and a notebook with a coffee stain on the cover. She sits across from me in our living room, the same room where Mike and I used to talk about books, and I can't stop staring at that stain. It's shaped like a comma, like an unfinished sentence. I know this is hard, she says, but I need you to tell me everything you remember, even the small things, especially the small things. My stepdad sits beside me. Mom's on my other side. They're flanking me like bodyguards. Do I have to? I ask. No, Detective Winters says. You don't have to do anything, but 7 other girls have come forward, and what you share might help us understand the full scope of what happened.
7 other girls. I wonder if they also felt special. He prayed with me, I start, and my voice sounds far away. Every night for almost a month, in my bedroom. Detective Winters writes something down. Did your parents know he was in your bedroom? I look at Mom. She's gone pale. They were asleep, I say. They work early, and I was having panic attacks, so we all thought, you thought he was helping, Detective Winters finishes, gently. He was helping. That's the part I can't. I press my palms against my eyes. I felt better. The panic attack stopped. How can something that helped me also be wrong? Because he used your pain, she says. That's what predators do. They find real needs and meet them. But their reasons for meeting those needs aren't pure. The help is real. The healing you experienced.
That was real. But it was never about you getting better. It was about you needing him. I think about how desperate I was for those prayers, how I counted down the hours until he'd arrive, how empty I felt on the nights he couldn't come. Did he ever ask you to keep secrets? Detective Winters asks. I shake my head. Then I stop. Wait, once. He said some people at church didn't understand his ministry to youth in crisis, that they were old-fashioned about men spending time with teenage girls. He said it was sad that people sexualized genuine care. Detective Winters' pen pauses. Did he say this after your mom asked if you felt uncomfortable? How does she know that? Yes, I whisper. Classic isolation technique, she says, more to herself than to me. Make the victim defend the relationship, turn protective questions into attacks on the bond. I feel sick again. Did you find pictures of me? The detective's expression shifts, softens. I can't discuss specifics of an ongoing investigation, but I can tell you that we secured his phone and computer. We're analyzing everything. Which means yes. Which means he photographed me while I was sleeping, while I thought I was safe, while I believed in him. I want to see them, the pictures. I need to know. Absolutely not, my stepdad says. At the same time, Mom says, sweetheart, no. Detective Winters leans forward. I understand the impulse, but trust me, you don't want those images in your head. Some things you can't unsee. They're already in my head. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back in that room with him. At least if I saw the pictures, I'd know exactly what happened, instead of imagining. What you're imagining is probably worse than reality, she says. And I say that as someone who's seen them. They're violating, yes. They're evidence of betrayal, but they're not. You weren't harmed in ways you don't remember. Do you understand what I'm saying? I nod, but I'm not sure I do. The other girls, are they okay? Detective Winters closes her notebook. They're where you are, trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense, trying to separate the help they received from the harm that came with it. Have you talked to all of them? Most. Some are still deciding whether to come forward. Why wouldn't they? She looks at me for a long moment. Because for the same reason you defended him 10 minutes ago. Because admitting what happened means admitting you were fooled. It means everyone knowing you were vulnerable. It means losing the good parts along with the bad. I understand that. What happens now? I ask. Now we build a case, we collect evidence, we prepare for trial if it comes to that. And you, she looks at all of us, you start healing. Therapy, support groups, whatever it takes. After she leaves, we sit in silence. Finally, Mom speaks. I'm so sorry. For what? For not being there, for working so much that you needed someone else, for not trusting my instincts when I asked if you were comfortable, for not... Mom! I take her hand. He fooled everyone. That's what he was good at. But you're my daughter. I should have... You did what you thought was right. You got me help. It's not your fault the help came with poison. My stepdad clears his throat. I called the church. They've removed him from all positions. They're conducting their own investigation. What did they say? That they're shocked and saddened, that they never saw any warning signs, that they're praying for everyone involved. I laugh. It comes out bitter. Of course they're praying. That night, I lie in bed and stare at the ceiling. The mattress still has that dip where he used to sit. I should flip it, or get a new one entirely. I close my eyes and try to pray. The words won't come. I used to think prayer was this direct line to God, pure and simple. Now I don't know what it was. Was God even there during those nights? Or was it just me and a predator in a dark room, and I was talking to myself while he watched? How do you separate the holy from the harmful when they're tangled together? My phone buzzes. A text from a number I don't recognize. Hi, Detective Winters gave me your number. I'm one of the other girls, Emma. I know you probably don't want to talk, but if you do, I'm here. We're all here. I stare at the message for a long time. Then I type back. Did he pray with you too? 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Every night for 2 months, in my room. I thought I was the only one. Me too. That's how he wanted us to feel. I start crying, and I'm not sure if it's grief or relief or rage, maybe all 3. I don't know how to pray anymore, I type. Me either, but I'm learning to sit with people in silence instead. It's different, but it's real. Over the next few weeks, Emma and I text every day. Then she introduces me to 2 other girls, Sarah and Maya. We create a group chat. No one tells us what to do or how to heal. We just exist together in our confusion and anger and slow, painful rebuilding. Sarah says she smashed every Bible in her house. Maya says she can't sleep in her bedroom anymore. Emma says she started painting, violent, beautiful abstracts that look like screaming. I tell them I'm learning to be angry, that for the longest time I thought I wasn't allowed to be angry because he helped me. But now I understand I can hold both truths. He helped, he harmed. Both things are real. You know what I miss most? Maya says during a video call one night. I miss feeling like I mattered to God. Mike made me feel like God saw me specifically. Now I don't know if that feeling was real or if it was just manipulation. It was real, Emma says quietly. The feeling was real. Mike didn't create your worth. He just exploited your need to have it recognized. So how do I get that feeling back without him? None of us has an answer. But we keep showing up for each other. And slowly, that starts to feel like something sacred. The trial is 8 months later. I don't testify. My parents and the prosecutor agree I don't have to. There's enough evidence without me. But I go to the courthouse anyway. I sit in the gallery with Emma and Sarah and Maya, with our parents, with a victim's advocate named Patricia, who brings tissues and mints and doesn't ask us how we're feeling. When they bring Mike in, I expect to feel something big, terror, rage, vindication. Instead, I just feel tired. He looks smaller than I remember, older. His reading glasses are gone. Maybe they took them, I don't know. He doesn't look at us, not once. The trial lasts 3 weeks. We hear testimony from digital forensic experts, from other families, from church members who noticed small things but didn't speak up. We hear from his ex-wife, who says she left him 12 years ago after finding inappropriate messages to a teenager. She reported it to the church leadership. They handled it internally. Nothing happened. He moved to a new church, started over, found new girls to save. During a break, I see one of the church elders in the hallway, Brother Timothy, who used to hand out bulletins on Sundays. He approaches our group hesitantly. I just want you girls to know, he says, that we're praying for you and for Michael, that God will bring healing and redemption to everyone involved. Emma stands up. Don't. Excuse me? Don't pray for him in the same breath you pray for us. Don't put our healing in the same sentence as his redemption. We're not the same. Brother Timothy's face reddens. I only meant, I know what you meant. You meant you're uncomfortable. You meant you want this to be over so the church can go back to normal. You meant you want to believe this was an aberration instead of a system failure. But we're not here to make you comfortable. He walks away. Patricia, the victim's advocate, squeezes Emma's shoulder. Well said. The verdict comes on a Thursday. Guilty on 14 counts. Multiple girls, multiple years, the photos, the grooming, all of it. When the judge reads the sentence, 23 years, I watch Mike's shoulders slump. I wait for satisfaction, for closure. It doesn't come. Because he's going to prison, yes, but we still have to live with what he did. We still have to rebuild trust from rubble. We still have to figure out how to be vulnerable again without feeling like vulnerability is dangerous. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm us. Our parents shield us. Patricia guides us to a private room. How do you feel? She asks once we're alone. Like it's over, Sarah says. Like it's just beginning, Maya counters. They're both right. I'm 17 now. 2 years past the night in the kitchen when everything changed. I still have panic attacks sometimes, but I have a therapist, Dr. Chen, who's patient and never prays with me and lets me say horrible, angry things without flinching. I have the group chat with Emma, Sarah, and Maya. We call ourselves the Aftermath, which is dark but honest. I've learned some things. That healing isn't linear. Some days I'm fine. Some days I can't get out of bed. That anger is holy when it's protecting something precious. And I am precious, even if I didn't always believe it. That the people who hurt us often think they're helping. That doesn't make it okay, but it makes it more insidious, easier to doubt yourself. That trust is possible again, but it looks different now. More careful, more boundaried. And that's not broken, that's wise. I still don't pray the way I used to, but I found other rituals. I write letters to my younger self, the girl who needed so badly to be seen that she didn't notice she was being watched. I tell her it's not her fault. I tell her she survived. I tell her she's allowed to be angry and sad and confused all at once. Sometimes Mom sits on the edge of my bed, the new bed, the one without a dip, and we just exist together in silence. No pressure to fix anything, no pressure to be okay. I'm learning, she tells me one night, that being present doesn't mean having answers. It just means showing up. I think, I say carefully, that real love looks like that. She cries, I cry. We hold each other. And I realize this is what I was searching for all along. Not someone to make me feel special, not someone to rescue me from my pain, just someone to sit with me in it. Someone who stays even when it's hard. Someone whose love doesn't come with conditions or cameras or secrets. Someone who sees me and doesn't take. On the 2-year anniversary of the verdict, the 4 of us, Emma, Sarah, Maya, and me, meet at a park. We each bring something that represented our time with Mike. Emma brings a journal where she recorded all their conversations. Sarah brings a cross necklace he gave her. Maya brings a prayer card with his handwriting on it. I bring the pillowcase from my old bed, the one he sat next to. We build a small fire in a metal drum. One by one, we burn them. To the girls we were, Emma says. To the women we're becoming, Sarah adds. To trusting ourselves again, Maya says. To knowing the difference, I finishes, between being seen and being watched. We watch the smoke rise and dissipate into the evening sky, and for the first time in 2 years, I feel something like peace. Not because it's over, but because I'm not carrying it alone. Because I've learned that sometimes the most sacred thing isn't prayer at all. Sometimes it's just truth. Sometimes it's just showing up for each other with empty hands and honest hearts. Sometimes
is burning the past and trusting that what grows from the ashes will be yours, truly yours, no one else's. As we leave the park, Maya asks, "Do you think you'll ever go back to church?" I consider this. Maybe, but not to find God. I think if God is real, God is here, in this, in us, choosing each other, in us refusing to let what happened define us. That's very wise, Sarah says. Or very traumatized, I laugh. Both can be true, Emma says. And she's right. Both things are true. I was harmed, and I'm healing. I was fooled, and I'm learning. I was vulnerable, and I survived. The man who prayed with me every night took something from me, but he didn't take everything. He didn't take my voice. He didn't take my capacity to love or trust or hope. He didn't take my future. Those things are still mine, and I'm building them, brick by brick, into something he can never touch. Something holy, something real, something that belongs only to me.